On this episode of Hornet, a Swarm of One, we're back at the shop, and Alex, well, he's playing with some Play-Doh, and I've got an idea in my head that I just don't think Neil's gonna like.
If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm a big fan of black, while Neil, his style is like a carnival ride on steroids. But that didn't stop me from pitching him a little idea I had.
You're not changing it to black. We already ordered $2,000 of material.
I don't know if it has to be black, but it looks tough as nails in a darker color.
But see, what I don't like besides black, the body lines get lost.
Well, we actually said that. Yeah. I said that the body lines get lost.
So the purpose is wow factor, but it's also to showcase the lines.
But it's also, it's gotta be tough.
I don't even mind. I like gray better than black.
I keep looking at it and going,
this is too light for you. This is Battleship gray.
That's the same color as my Demon. That's too light.
What about darker?
I mean, that
you can still do the black hood.
But then what color would you do the GLHS in? That it wouldn't get lost. Would you do the GLHS in?
See, red would look kind of tacky. It would be red, this, but this on the black is too close.
Red cheapens it up.
Yeah, it does.
If the color is black.
The hood has to be black,
right?
So,
okay,
yeah.
So this is the color, hood is black.
This is gloss, this is matte. I definitely like this better than black. This is almost a mix of you and me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it changes the whole feel of the car. But I do see what you're saying. It just...
Right? But I mean, you can see where my head is going with this.
While Neil and I argued over colors, Alex was busy planning out the Hornet's new flares. He started by extending the existing wheel moldings to a width we'd already agreed on. Then, he literally opened a box of modeling clay and got to work on the process of hand sculpting what would become the flare's initial shape. His process was old school, but by doing it this way, it allowed him to focus on achieving the exact contours he wanted. Was it an arduous process to watch firsthand? My God, yeah. But after a few hours of watching him work, both Neil and myself gained a new respect for what Alex was bringing to the table. With the front fender molded the way Alex wanted, he then turned his attention to the Hornet's rear quarter panel, where he'd repeat the same process. However, in the midst of our man doing his thing, Neil got curious and decided to take a few lessons from our master fabricator.
Dude, this looks so good. I see you playing with your clay. I want to learn. What's the reason for the clay? And then kind of show me how it all goes together.
Clay is a great medium to use. You can build up the shape you want. You can adjust it out on the fly so you're not sitting there spending all this time on metal and it doesn't fit. Give it a try.
Cool. So saw you doing a little bit of cheating. So smaller pieces. Reason for that compared to the bigger pieces?
So if you were to just stick a big piece on,
okay,
and then you were to take your tool to scrape it,
it would just come off.
You just knock off the whole piece.
Got you. Okay.
It's good because you can see the shape build in front of your eyes.
Yeah, that's what I like compared, like you said, some of the metal work. Once the clay's done, I know we've got to sculpt a little, shave. What's the next step?
So after the clay's set where it needs to be and you guys like it, I start my flexible shape pattern.
Okay.
And from there I can start taking that pattern off of the panel, transfer it to the metal, and build that final shape.
And then I know this is, I probably know the answer. We'll build this whole side, finish it, replicate it, and have it on the other side?
Exactly. So that's called the flexible shape pattern. Once that comes off, that'll tell you exactly where everything needs to be. Body lines, pickup points, finishing ends, and it'll actually tell you the surface area of the steel. Once that thing fits 100%, you can put that on any Dodge after that and it'll fit right up. The build process so far has been tearing down the car. We reshaped the actual Dodge flares to where we wanted them. Then I filled them in with clay. I made my patterns, and now I'm pulling the patterns off and making the full metal panels.
Now that the patterns were complete, the next step was to unload the fabrication equipment and tools that Alex would need to begin shaping our new flares out of metal.
So metal can only do three things. It could stretch, shrink, and bend. And these are the tools that I use to shape these panels. This tool right here is called a planishing hammer. This hammer blows super fast and straightens out the metal, cleans it up very fast, very efficiently. This tool right here is called a shrinker stretcher. You activate the tool with this pedal. It captures the metal and drags it into itself, thus shrinking the actual metal. And one of my favorite tools, my baby, the English wheel. This tool is a stretching only tool. This is what gives you your compound shapes, your reverse curves, and whatever shape you're trying to put in. But this tool can only stretch, whereas this one can shrink, and this one as well can only stretch.
After the tools were positioned and ready to go, it was time to unload our sheet metal. Here, Alex would lay out the flexible shape patterns he created and begin the process of bringing our new fender flares to life.
So you see what's happening here? How this is all puffed up and this is flat. So this is telling me right now that this all needs surface area added to it, and this is pretty much just bending. If the thing did something like this, where the edge kicked up, then that would tell me that I have a reverse. So I would have to do a reverse curve in this area. So this is telling me everything I need to know about this panel. So it's pretty much just shaping here, and the rest is bending.
With that said, it was time for the cutting and sculpting process to really begin. Every dimple, cut, hammer, and bend were carefully executed, and watching Alex do his thing was nothing short of mesmerizing. What you can't see though were the hours upon hours of work it took to create what many would think of as a single flare or structural support. Folks, these types of craftsmen are disappearing, so watching this type of work being done in person was an absolute treat.
So to get to the point on this fender flare, I had to start with a blank, lay my pattern out, cut it, trace it, make all my detailed lines, hit it with a hammer 100 times, walk over to the English wheel, roll it 1,000 times, walk back to the table, fit it, walk back to the English wheel, fit it again, roll it, hit it with a hammer 100 more times, back on the car, test fit it, and we're at this point right now where we're gonna get ready for one more fit and welding it all in and getting it finished. So it's day 3 of this build. Passenger side's all roughed in. We're gonna use our templates and make a copy for the driver's side. By the end of today, I wanna have all 3 sections of the left side flare finished.
As the passenger front and rear flares were now completed, it was time for Alex to duplicate them on the driver's side. Again, the process was repeated, and again, both Neil, myself, and the crew watched as everything was test fitted once again, and to the point where the initial grafting of the flares to the Hornet's body would take place.
As you guys can tell, this isn't like a do-in-one-day type of project. Alex has been working on this thing for a couple of days now. We're getting to the point where he's actually ready to cut the fender. That makes me nervous because anytime you're cutting metal, it's difficult to put it back. Now, Alex assures me that no, this is totally fine. This is what I do, and after seeing the work that he's already done, I'm not worried, really. But as somebody who doesn't do this, you know, there's always that thing in the back of your mind that goes, I really hope he could put this back together, and kind of seeing where the flares are, seeing his talent. Part of me is like, oh God, don't do it. But then I'm also like, I can't wait to see what the finished product is, and I know we're getting close to that. So yeah, we are now fully committed. I mean, before it was just kind of clay with some metal over it as he was sculpting it down. But now part of the fender is gone and there's truly no going back. But seeing the skill that Alex has in doing this, now I'm getting really excited to see how this project is gonna keep evolving. The wheel well was pretty big before it accepted those 20 by 10s. Now it's super massive. Explain to us why you had to cut out and you had to radius that, as opposed to just taking a flare and just slapping it on.
For this process, you have to trim it back to get the cleanest weld as possible.
Okay.
If I was to just weld right on top of the old panel, one, it's not the right way to do it. Two, you're gonna get extreme warpage and there'd be no way to get that warpage out.
We're at the final stage, right? This is, we're welding it on and then there's body work to smooth everything out, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any reservations, any concerns?
I'm not worried.
This is why I love him. He doesn't care, he's just like, it's totally fine. I freak out and then he just goes, Mike, it's fine. When you see how stuff is actually handcrafted out of metal, it's pretty insane. I mean, the amount of skill, the amount of patience, the amount of talent it takes to do this is really unbelievable. What's even cooler than that is I think there are so many people out there that don't realize this exists because it's not showcased enough. If you're a kid and you're watching this and you ever thought about going into metal shaping or metal work or coach building or fabricating, just do it. My man, why am I looking at half a car?
Because it is half a car?
Yeah.
For now.
I know. It's making me a bit nervous. Walk me through what step we're at right now.
Not in the middle. We're getting there. Alex is working. This is part of the process. Got to take it apart, put
Okay.
it back together, take it apart, but rest assured, we got you.
All right, so, yeah, based on that, I'm gonna throw you this. On the next episode, we turn our half a car back into a whole car. We have a lot more body work to do, a full color change, an exhaust system, for the goal of, well, taking it to the racetrack. And that's coming up in the next few episodes of Hornet, A Swarm of One.